Tonight, Port Pirie Council facing legal action from one of the city's biggest employers, and Port Augusta locals angry over access to a health assistance scheme. Good evening. Financially struggling metal giant Nyrstar has taken legal action against the Port Pirie Regional Council over the taxation of its properties. Nyrstar is seeking to axe a rates bill which it says has no legal basis. Dominic Beaton has more.
Port Pirie Council has found itself the subject of a legal fight with the town's biggest employer, Nyrstar. The company is taking them to court over what it says is unfair council rates. The multinational corporation is paying $1.3 million for its properties across the town. Within council's rate policy, it is written, a higher rate in the dollar is applied for Nyrstar and its associated smelters properties, given the unique nature of these properties, and that council seeks to recover about 8% of the council's total revenue from these properties. Nyrstar's financial future remains in the grey, with bank lenders refusing to take a loss on metal for loan deals, which endangers an aid package agreed upon by Nyrstar and its biggest shareholder Trafigura last year. The company risks going into liquidation if it's unable to pay back more than $500 million in debt later this year. Nyrstar has confirmed that it would prefer to resolve this matter in discussion with the council, without needing to take steps to further legal proceedings. Council has said it's not in a position to make any comment at this point in time. Council have confirmed that they will address the legal case during their monthly meeting this evening. It will be discussed privately at the end of proceedings.
3 energy projects in our region could be underwritten by the federal government. They're on a shortlist of 12 being considered for support to help shore up the nation's energy supply.
With wind, solar and land in abundance, Regional SA is earmarked as a renewable energy hub. A number of projects are developing, with storage a key feature, and 3 could soon get Commonwealth support via a federal government guarantee.
Telling them that you need to raise finance. What we will do, we will underwrite your electricity price in the future.
All 3 are hydroelectric, which uses a process of moving water through turbines to generate electricity. One is located at Baruta Reservoir near Port Pirie, while another on the list is located outside Port Augusta at Goat Hill, near the Lincoln Gap Wind Farm. And Sanjeev Gupta's proposal for a hydro plant at a disused mine near Whyalla also made the cut.
For us, what that means is getting this project off the ground. It adds significant capacity into our portfolio.
Overall, projects in the Upper Spencer Gulf make up a quarter of the national list. There's also another at Balaclava near Adelaide also up for consideration. Mr. Barrington says the region has perfect conditions for renewable generation.
Absolutely blessed with the renewable resources, whether it's wind, solar, and certainly pumped hydro storage.
If successful, the 3 would add around 600 megawatts to the grid. John Hunt, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Locals in Port Augusta have vented their anger over issues they're experiencing with the state government's patient assistance transport scheme. Some say the lack of access to specialist health services has them feeling like second-class citizens.
Port Augusta local Anne Franks is a fighter. After living with cancer, diabetes and heart problems, a trip to Whyalla for a nuclear scan already had her on edge. But that stress was made worse when she learned she would not receive any assistance for the 150-kilometre round trip.
They said, no, it's under the mileage. They would not pay it.
Despite Whyalla being her closest and most convenient destination for specialist appointments, funding subsidies are only available to those who live more than 100 kilometres away, which means Anne's not eligible.
Very browned off with the system.
Anne was one of over 200 locals who attended a forum in Port Augusta, armed with pages full of reasons why they feel let down by the system.
I just feel we need more consideration in the country. What we're hearing loud and clear is that a lot of the rules just do not work for country people.
Member for Stewart, Dan Van Hulst-Pelikan, called the meeting after his electorate office received a large amount of complaints regarding the government scheme.
Claims that were always previously paid now not being paid, or just, more red tape than seemed necessary.
The Health Minister vowing to review the service.
Clearly from the discussion tonight, we haven't got the balance right. We need to get the balance right.
But locals say their battle with PATS is only just heating up.
I've just had enough. I've been fighting this for 15 years. It's time now to do something.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A New South Wales cotton farmer has been fined almost $200,000 for pumping water during an embargo. Anthony Barlow pleaded guilty to 2 counts of illegal pumping, which took place over 2 days in early 2015. The water pumped was enough to fill 153 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The fine of $190,000 includes penalties for pumping water while metering equipment was not working properly. The South Australian Government is planning on beefing up the red meat industry with a $7.5 million cash injection. The money to be used to create greater market access for farmers and increase biosecurity.
A vote of confidence for our state's livestock industry. The government committing to a new multi-million-dollar grant.
Further investing $7.5 million to boost the ability for South Australia to grow our flock and herd numbers.
Industry leaders are applauding the move, hoping it'll bring some relief to the sector following the recent drought. Low rainfall is expected to cause a further negative impact for sheep meat supply in 2019.
Any injection of funding and support increases the buoyancy in the industry.
Confidence that they're definitely going to invest back into the livestock industries in South Australia, and I think it's a really good step.
Investment from the Economic and Business Growth Fund focusing on building vital infrastructure to enhance biosecurity and market growth in the red meat industry.
Looking at ways that we have traceability and accountability for our livestock, particularly heading into new emerging export markets.
Biosecurity has become a more prevalent issue this year following outbreaks of foot and mouth disease in South Africa.
About ensuring that we have an integral system to manage our biosecurity so we can give confidence to our export and local markets.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, the fight for the bite reaches Europe and native Australian produce served at a pop-up restaurant. Welcome back. An Australian politician has taken the fight for the bite to the Norwegian Parliament. Member for Mayo Rebecca Sharkey writing to all 169 members of the government this week, advising them of the opposition that some members of the community have against drilling in the Great Australian Bight.
I can't say they're not fully aware of the sentiment in the community, but also the evidence we have before us of what an oil spill would look like.
Ms Sharkey also introducing a bill towards the Australian Parliament to list the Bight as a National Heritage Site, aiming to add another level of protection against the drilling. The Flinders Ranges Council is welcoming the promise of federal funding of up to $1 million. The funds will be used for projects aiming to boost the spirits of the community, which is battling prolonged effects of the drought.
The rolling hills of the Flinders Ranges, with not a skerrick of feed in sight.
The whole countryside is really very denuded now.
The drought has had a severe effect on both residents and livestock.
No stock feed, there wouldn't be any water in anyone's dams, and that wouldn't have been for the last 6 months.
But if a good shower of rain is number one on the wish list, the council says $1 million would be second. It's received the hefty amounts from the federal government to revitalise the local economy, which has been slowed by the drought.
It'll be about infrastructure program and about some social programs to help sustain the community through difficult times.
People like the electricians and the hairdresser and the builders and mechanics in the district.
The council will start developing ideas for projects over the coming months. Mayor Peter Slattery says he hopes this grant will go a long way towards making sure businesses keep their doors open in the face of drought.
The rural sector isn't spending money, but those support businesses are still there and we want them to remain.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A special train movement of 20 flat-top wagons carrying Australian Defence military equipment left Port Augusta this morning on its return trip to Darwin. It's the first time the Adelaide to Darwin rail line has been used in a major movement of defence cargo. The equipment will return to the Northern Territory after Army personnel wrapped up exercises at the Coltana training base near Port Augusta. Port Lincoln High School has hosted a culinary adventure showcasing native Australian produce, with the school hosting a pop-up restaurant. Senior students cooking a 4-course dinner to a sold-out crowd.
It's teaching students and diners the native ingredients of Australia, prepared and showcased within a degustation menu.
Originally we got the class to brainstorm different cultural foods that they might like to do. And one of them was native Australian.
The night a result of months of hard work, with students using the school's aquaculture program to grow, fillet and cook their own barramundi.
We've been talking about this for about 6 months. Last year we brought it up and we thought we should collaborate with our dinner.
It takes a year before the barramundi is fully grown, with the school's Year 11 students currently looking after the fish.
I find an interest in raising fish up and learning how to grow them and feed them and all that.
And we learned how to fillet fish, how to breed them.
There was a lot riding on the junior chefs in making sure the night ran smoothly. Head chef Flynn Bullock guiding his team.
It's a bit stressful at times because some kids won't listen, but most of the time I can get a hold of them and they will do stuff when you just need to give them incentive.
The diners scoring their night an A+.
Very impressed. A lot better than what I could do.
They're doing a great job and the head chef's fantastic. He's my son, but you know.
And I love the flavour of the barramundi. Haven't had it for a long, long time, so it was a real treat.
Diners also having the chance to buy their own barramundi, helping sponsor the aquaculture program. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The annual Seed Festival was held in Port Lincoln on the weekend, with hundreds of locals turning up to support youth music. This year it was held at the local beer garden, with a dozen young bands performing to a packed house. All the musicians are 18 and under, with members travelling from all over the region to perform. The event marking the beginning of Salt Festival, a week-long celebration of innovation and art. The annual event bringing thousands to Port Lincoln. It's set to kick off next month. Stay with us. Coming up after the break, a preview of the Broken Hill Cricket Grand Final, and Britt will have all the weather details.
Well, petrol prices all across the Spencer Gulf and here in Broken Hill have gone up this week. It's not the best way to end the month. Starting with unleaded, and many townships have seen big jumps in their averages. Port Lincoln is paying the most at around $1.46. Whyalla and Port Augusta are both up by 6 cents on $1.43 and $1.39. Port Pirie is back into the 140s, with Kadina not too far behind. Broken Hill has seen a 2-cent increase. We're paying $1.44. The only green arrow is for the SA capital. Adelaide motorists enjoying a low price of about $1.33. Turning over to diesel now, and it's relatively quiet. Port Lincoln is up by a cent, the same as Port Augusta and Kadina. Whyalla is breaking even on $1.49, Broken Hill is at $1.53, Adelaide again seeing green, but it's only a minor change. Finishing off with a quick look at Autogas, and there has been next to no movement across the regional centres. Kadina has gone down by 2 cents, Broken Hill almost down by 1. The rest of the board is even Steven, Port Lincoln 92, Whyalla 93 and Port Pirie on 89. And of course, remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet.
The chairman of Broken Hill's local cricket league has dubbed the recent season as one of the best in years. The praise comes after a strong fixture in both the A-grade and B-grade comps.
Looking back on the 2018-19 season, it's more 100 not out than a golden duck.
Was a pretty good season actually. We had some good cricket. It was a lot more even season than we've had in the last few years.
In the A grade, North reigned supreme, dominating all season. But we also saw the rise of South, who finished their 18-19 campaign with their first finals appearance in almost 20 years. Central started slow but found form late, and West were competitive every round.
But numbers in general were pretty good for the seniors. So, no, look, we were pretty happy with the season.
The B grade was very tight with only 4 premiership points between first and fourth at some stages. North caused the upset, beating the Warriors in an epic season ender.
North came from 5th position with 2 rounds to go before the final and to win the premiership.
But the season wasn't without its challenges. Only 3 teams contested the under-16s comp. Mr Johnston says attracting juniors to cricket is vital to keep the sport alive.
The greatest challenge at the moment for all junior sport is you've got to make it interesting, you've got to be a little bit innovative and appeal to the kids.
Working with local schools is one idea to improve junior numbers. Mr Johnston says the problem will be discussed at the league's AGM. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Now let's take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Louise. We were graced with sunny skies today. Port Augusta with a top of 27 degrees, Whyalla 25, Port Lincoln 23, Broken Hill 24, Port Pirie 27 and Adelaide 24. A high pressure system extended a ridge over our region today as it moves east towards the Tasman. A cold front will move over the Gulf towards the end of the week. On the waters tomorrow, southerly winds at 10 to 15 knots with seas at 1 metre, and the sun will rise a few minutes before 7:30. Tomorrow, more sunny skies, Port Augusta 30 degrees, Whyalla 29, Port Lincoln 25, Coffin Bay 22, Woodner 29, Corn and Broken Hill both 28, Port Pirie 29, Clare and Cleve 27. Friday, the cold front will bring showers over our region ahead of a cloudy weekend. Port Lincoln with a top of 19 on Friday, with similar temperatures heading into Saturday and Sunday. Cleve 18 Friday and Saturday, 21 on Sunday, Woodner in the early 20s. Whyalla escaping the wet on Friday, but with strong winds expected, a top of 23. Saturday showers with a top of 20. Port Augusta showers and 25 on Friday. Saturday 20 degrees and cloudy. Kadina expecting both the wind and rain on Friday. Port Pirie showers and wind on Friday with a top of 23, cloudy into the weekend. Clare showers on Friday, 19, and Broken Hill remaining sunny, 29 on Friday, Saturday partly cloudy and 19. And that's it from me, Louise. I'll be back tomorrow with more information on Friday's cold front and the showery and windy conditions that it will bring.
Thanks for that, Brit. It sounds like we might need a jacket. That's your local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll have updates again later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.